Howdy folks, doing a health update here. Just checking in, letting folks know how things have been as the summer and the heat have moved in. And I'm like 2 months on the albuterol, which has helped. But I think we've reached the limit of seeing what that help does, which is fine. It's not the cure-all. Hold on. Alright, there we are. For frame of reference, I had to go get a stand for the phone because holding the phone in my hand up in the air like that hurts. So yeah, I guess let's dive in there. How's pain been? Certainly still better than before taking the albuterol. The pain before that was pretty all the time, all day, every day. There was very little moments of non-pain other than if I was just totally still in bed. And the pain was substantial. So now I definitely still have pain, but it tends to be more use-based if I'm moving around or using a muscle group too much, then that will start to hurt. But it hurts much like kind of the muscle pain I've had my whole life of like if I walk too much my legs hurt a lot. So there's that. But with the heat in the summer getting hotter and more constant, the pain certainly has been challenging and coming back. But all that said, prior to the albuterol, I was taking a variety of things for pain. I weaned off the nortriptyline, which I had been on, and just greatly cut back on cannabis reliance for pain. So, yes, I'm in pain still, but I'm taking less stuff for pain, and yes, that's my choice. Particularly with nortriptyline, it's just a trade-off. It wasn't really a pain med, it was just pumping serotonin into my body to make me cope with the situation, and that made my heat intolerance much worse. So if I want to be outside at all in the summer, I can't be taking that nortriptyline. So that's out, and that's fine. And one thing being off all the pain meds that mess with the brain is now I'm able to track again the brain component of my disorder, because yes, it's muscular and there's still a lot of mystery, and unequivocally yes, the brain is connected. So let's see, what are my abilities like? I can do more than I could before, but it just causes pain. I mentioned holding that phone hurt. We went a couple weeks ago to the museum downtown, and there's like a coloring in a dinosaur on a piece of paper. Coloring in a dinosaur on a sheet of paper. Excruciating. For my hand. So I do things, but I do them very, very limited. I have projects that I do that might have been a after work project in times in the past, and now that is like a week-long project where I work on it for 15 minutes and 15 minutes this day, and just keep spacing it out. Another factor with the heat, if I am hot, if my body has been warmed up, the ability to pull muscle groups is quite substantial. For a frame of reference, the other day I pulled my back plugging in a cord. Just plugging a cord into an extension cord, standing up like this, pulled my back. So that's the way it is. I think the good news about all that, I guess, is because it's all so whatever, it's easy to sort of massage it and get it to calm down again. Mental stuff with the ability to track it now a little bit better without the meds hazing out everything. I can be at times as mentally sharp as I used to be. Um, and I can at times be borderline like that. Um, it generally tracks with episodes. I sort of go blank in my head. I become distant. Um, it's quite. I haven't been able to track. Does this get triggered by anxiety, or is my anxiety worse after this is already happening? Um, what can trigger this? What did trigger this recently? A phone tree. I needed to call one of these service providers to talk to someone. Well, that's not really a thing that much these days. There's all these phone options that are, none of them are right. You can't press 0 anymore. There's no way to talk to a fucking human. That can put me out of commission for days, really, in terms of my brain going hazy. But the day that particular incident happened, I went and got blood work, and got a test result that tracks with a theory of mine. I've had a theory for over, I don't know when, doesn't matter, for some time now, that my brain fog component is related to CO2. I thought maybe too much, too little, wasn't sure. But when I look up the symptoms, like what someone would experience from having too much CO2 in their blood or too little CO2 in their blood, that is what describes generally my brain fog episodes. So it was interesting that I did have that test result that day when I was having that brain fog and that anxiety. And to be clear, because I say anxiety, and if you were to look up anxiety and breathing and all of this stuff, it talks about hyperventilating. And that's not my case. That's not what's happening in any of these incidences. It is it just looks like this. I kind of just go blank, and breathing is very shallow, just very, very little breathing happening in general, I guess. So there's that. Still trying to find my way to a RYR1 specialist, which I guess someday, somehow, I'll find my way there. The person who I wanted to see is a pediatrician, which obviously I'm not a child, but allegedly they take adults to this adult clinic, but that's moving from this network to that hospital. They're phasing out all adult patients, so now I'm looking at the next person, who would be someone in Pittsburgh, but I don't know if I'll be able to get into there either, because everyone wants the RYR1 connected to why I'm disabled. But the only people who can do that are the doctors who I need to see, the specialists who I need to see, because there isn't even a specialist in the state of Michigan, that knows shit about this. So, and guess what? Yeah, I'm disabled and living off of the government, and that at the moment means Medicaid, which is state by state. Which, when you don't have a provider in your state that knows your specialty, your disorder, you're like, what? Am I lying and saying I'm a self-pay? I don't have the money. Or what? So, but all that said, I'm doing all right, particularly compared to before. I am at least able to enjoy some aspects of life and get out of the house a bit more. But long way to go. We'll get there.